I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there anybody that would like to make public comment at this time? Okay. JD, I think you got to start early again. Give you a few extra minutes.
Good afternoon, J.D. King, Page County Engineer. The alternate schedule has these in paper right now. I'll send it to you via email later today. I did get a mention on KMA this morning about our steel coat work. It's good, and we are underway with that. Hauling off with a couple belly dumps. 10 of the trucks are hauling dirt down the pipe crew near Blanchard. The blades are out. We're gonna do some ditching on dirt roads. A couple of our roads have been cleared for utilities, 310 and F Avenue both. And then we'll do more of those as the summer progresses. The pipe crew is finishing up down at Blanchard on 322nd and J, where they've been working last week. It was an old pipe, fairly robust to a new crew. And last week we hauled rock on 50th Street, including into the city of Essex, which they'll pay for. Spray patchers are doing work on the Lyman Road, on 56 up there, and we have one more run. Everybody else is tied up with other projects. Motor grader number 8's in the shop for service. Transmission is back in number 74, the water truck, but they haven't told me that it's operational yet. And our large oil storage tank that we feed the spray patcher with, and other counties and highway agencies in the Southwest here. We have trouble with one of the valves at the bottom of the tank, and we're using that carefully, and hopefully we'll get the oil out of it before it breaks entirely, and we do have a new valve coming. The seal coat work did start. They're kind of in the middle of T Avenue there, south by the Jimmy folks, and north of the like Greta's place, north cemetery, kind of there out in the middle of nowhere. I'll be interested to see their methodology and how they picked that spot to start, but they're the contractors, they have so many days to do it. Last week, I thought they were gonna start shouldering on in 63 this morning. That's correct, they're supposed to be in tomorrow. I'll get to the preliminary design review, which is on the agenda next. I did attend the mid-year conference in Ames last week. The main the main topics that I had into this, that we're interested in here in Page County is that there's a fund, an extra fund that sponsors bridges or that funds bridges is County Bridge Construction Fund. And by code, there's $2 million worth of bridge money in that each year. That's dispersed out based on you apply for it in the end of the year. They award it December, January, or you apply for it in October, November. They award money, one or two bridges or one or two counties based on the size of the bridge. In January, December, they did not do that this year based on funding uncertainties or some such other thing. And now they have found, with the big infrastructure bills coming down from above, at least purportedly, that we have found $2 million more for that $2 million fund. So now there's $4 million. And then they also found another $4 million somewhere else, and some other fund. And they're dragging it into that. So now it's an $8 million fund. So that will take care of more of these bridges. And Page County submit one. Pretty decent chances, I thought, a couple of years ago. Didn't get it, so we resubmitted, and we will resubmit that project again. That's Essex North Bridge. And so now we have a sizable chunk of bridge money available to us. And I made the suggestion through a district rep that we should take advantage of that now. And, people that were next in the line of successful candidates there, they just go down fund another $6 million worth of projects. But ostensibly, that wasn't what the majority of the engineers thought there at the executive board, because it wasn't fair that people who didn't apply last December, because they only knew there was $2 million and not $8 million. But I say, let the devil take the hindmost. I got my hand out for bridge money, and we've used that in the past. So unfortunately, they chose to wait, and they're gonna fund it with $8 million next December. So we'll have to be patient. And we're looking for other sources of funding for that also. Tomorrow, DOT is letting the bridge onto 80th Street in Buchanan Township on J53. And when I found out who the apparent low is, I'll advise the board. So, also on the agenda is a proposal for preliminary bridge design funds on W45, W65. That is a bridge on M32 or South Z Road that's been returned to gravel from Silco. It's next to, let's see the class. No, it's one of the bridges on the West Chartfield River, not the most southern one, but I think there's two more south of that one, but it's on the FM road, C Avenue. It's a larger bridge. We've got the one West Essex is in the letting in October. Need to keep the bridge designers working because there is more bridge money out there. But I do have some information about previous design costs. Preliminary design costs for the W65 bridge is $20,130. But as you see, over the span of 7 years, but all the way back to June of 2014, we did preliminary work on the Shenandoah Bridge for $11,890. And it's increased steadily over the years. The Brummett Bridge, the A Avenue Bridge north of Shan, the Essex West Bridge and the Essex North Bridge were both $18,660 done 2 years ago in April. This is a part of our bridge design process. It takes about 2 years to develop a project on our larger bridges. And we're having success with Calhoun and Burns folks. I appreciate a motion to approve this preliminary design contract. Subject to your questions.
Only one person did it. No, just one.
These are the people that have done our other bridges. So I've solicited their services again.
They've done all these bridges, every one of them.
Yes,
No one else does it.
there are.
They doubled their price over the years. I don't know. I think my only question is if there's anyone else that could do satisfactory the same work for cheaper. $20,000 for the money. What's the time frame on this?
What do you mean?
Like, when does it need to be done by? That's what I'm asking.
It just needs to be done next. There's
Next step.
not, we're,
What length of time does the design process take? I think that's.
it's a couple, 2.5 years process maybe.
Was there another, I mean, you've never had another bid to show a comparison, ever?
I've had other bridge outfits do standard bridges, but these are not standard.
They're big.
These are longer and bigger and
Is there anybody else that would do a big bridge, that can do a big bridge?
yes.
I understand and being comfortable with them, just. The only question, if anybody else bid on it. How long does it take for somebody to give you an idea what it costs? That you trust? We're asking.
So again,
How long would it take to ask somebody that's qualified how much they would charge, how big a deal would that be?
just a phone call or email.
I'd kind of like to see that,
Sure.
if it's not a big deal, not like that big. Just to check, it's been a lot of years without checking, prices almost
Now,
double.
these guys also do our bridge inspections. They're not, and it's of course, it's a $2.9 million bridge. Down Shenandoah, it's a $3 million bridge, or I don't know how many dollar bridge beyond W65. We generally spend all together with preliminary and final design, where, we're looking toward
Around 100,000.
110,000. You
So
may-
would the bid be for just preliminary, or do they bid both the final and all?
we just do preliminary.
If it's not a big deal, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I don't know. If there's nothing to be hurt by it. I think it's. They've not been checked in how many years?
I don't know, before, they were on the Shenandoah Bridge, before my tenure there, they were asked to do an investigation whether that bridge could be strengthened in similar fashion to the Hepburn Bridge. And it could be for some, wasn't highly encouraged to do that. And then when I came, we changed thought process about we wanted to be able to do it there. So there was investigative work on the Shenandoah Bridge prior to this 11.8 being spent on preliminary design. So I don't know.
A long time. If it's not a big deal, if there's somebody that's just as competent, I wouldn't mind seeing that a bit. Just to see what it
Okay.
is.
Sure.
That's just my thoughts. I don't want you to go.
Don't have a problem, but even if we were to go ahead and move forward, we're not gonna vote today anyway with.
Okay.
Because you would be against and I would be for,
yeah.
so since there's not three of us, I think probably our stalemate would be to
Come back.
Just make a phone
Yep,
call and see.
yep.
Get somebody to-
gather some more information, send out to us and, you know. So,
Okay. Thank you. See you next week.
okay,
Or you have questions about the update?
I've got a question.
go ahead.
We've been getting emails on the Stanton Road. I don't know if you guys can get them or.
Yeah, and we just got a response back from JD, talked to Tom today about that.
Today you don't remember.
Or
I talked to him on Saturday.
yeah, you sent us an email today.
I have another, I'm not an engineer, but he had several concerns that the plan wasn't followed, the actual blueprints or
The taper, the transition.
yeah. And my concern is, and I spent some time on Braddock here hauling hay on J55 again. And I'm not impressed with how every time they stop that truck, there's a bump, and it doesn't go away, but it hasn't gone away. And so my big fear is, and something very important to me is, one, the plan's gotta be followed, and the engineer has to make sure they do it, they don't cut corners or anything, and I don't know, it sounds like they have. So is the remedy gonna be made? Sounds like they're quite a ways past where the remedy should have been made, so I don't know what we need to do to figure all this out.
Well, they're coming back to fix some problems that we have with faith
Okay,
on
to
the
do it
Stanton Road.
according to plan. And then so like the point we made on Braddock, I wanna know when that final payment's made, and I don't want a payment made until everything is done right. No last payment made until we are totally satisfied they at least upheld
Right.
the agreement we had with the blueprint. It sounds like they have it in a few places on what he sent me. So anyway, that's just.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes. And
we
these-
spoke about these problems.
Okay, I really, just like on the Braddock Road, I do not think the payment should have been made in months on that. I didn't know that then when it was made, but these big projects, paving projects, that final half or whatever, I really,
Well,
my opinion
yeah,
is,
that's why the board signs the final voucher.
yeah, I just want to make sure before we get too far into it, again, when it's like, before you get to the point where you're having to back up all the way from that point, the day they're doing that, it's caught, you know, and then address then when they can still fix it when they move out here. Anyway, that's what I had.
I was just gonna comment on the same thing. Thank you for letting us know today that you chatted with Mr. Wagner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're running a little behind. If you're ready to go, go ahead, John. You can tell us a little bit about the inspection report from the DNR and what you know so far about costs.
Okay, on May 10th, DNR came out and did an inspection on Pierce Creek's dam. While it did get a satisfactory rating, and I emailed the board a copy of the report. There are a number of issues that they've pretty much given us 1 to 2 years to fix. All the issues are going to be incredibly expensive. The ones they pointed out that are of the most concern are we need to armor and rip wrap the lake side of the dam all the way across the dam. It's approximately 925 feet. And then around the spillway, they would like a 15-foot area. The spillway is 40 feet long, a 15-foot area on each side that's clear of trees and debris. And also the trees that are there now have damaged the concrete of the spillway. So we'll have to look at getting that repaired also. We haven't reached out. We've reached out just to get a ballpark figure of estimates. Obviously, we're going to put out bids for it when all this starts. The only response we've had back has been about the armoring of the dam on the lakeside, and they're guesstimating between 40 and 50,000. That's kind of sight unseen. That's just from the length of it and everything. So what I'm pretty much here today for is just to kind of keep you guys informed, and if there were any ARPA funds available. Once we get some hard numbers, we definitely probably be coming back. This is way out of the ballpark that ARPA could afford.
one of the things that we talked about back when we put together the budget for the ARPA dollars, we put a little bit over $200,000 in the county park improvements. I know that we've got 40 roughly for
It was 40 for Pioneer.
and I don't think anything else has come up yet that you've had. And those were just, we put it there just to have as a safety net of where to spread these dollars out. Whether or not we use it there or not, but I would think that we still have not had a lot of things come up that are exact, and this is something that we are going to have to do. What would happen if we don't fix the repairs?
That I don't know. The only thing I've gotten from DNR when I kind of broached that subject with them was if Pierce Creek did flood, since all this is documented and the spillway failed, that the county would be responsible for any damage that was downstream.
Yeah. So, okay.
So, and we are doing some grant searches. The only problem is this kind of falls under routine maintenance. So a lot of the grants are not going to apply to it.
On the trees and the spillway, we went out there, was it last year or when that was? And I can't remember, was there a plan put in place to get rid of those trees last year?
The NRCS had talked about it. And yeah, it's one of those, we were going to get to them slowly. We were at that point, we didn't think the dam was in that bad a shape until we got this report. This was a little more specific and detailed. So.
Well, the fall, I kill a lot of trees, the best time to kill trees right now, August, because they take it all over root. If you spray them and kill them right now, the next year you just get rid of them, there'd be nothing left. They wouldn't be coming back constantly. I didn't know who does that though. You gonna hire that done, or is that something?
If it's chemical treatment, I mean, we could do it. And a lot of the smaller trees we'll be able to take care of in our apartment. But there's probably a couple dozen that are, 30 plus feet tall. That's just, it's out of kind of our safety net of being able to take care of it.
Okay.
How fast do you feel that you'll be able to gather more information? So we
Hopefully pretty quick. We've contacted, the only person we're struggling for, or area that we're struggling, is an experienced individual with concrete, just because it does have a lot to do with water. It's kind of the same issue we're running into with the boat ramp. The trees, the tree removal isn't anything special. It's just a lot of trees. So we should be able to get the armoring, the trees, the erosion and the backfill, we probably won't know until we get the trees removed. So we should have those numbers pretty soon, but the concrete might take a little bit. Then after we get, like I said, after we get a better idea, we'll put it out for bid. Go from there.
Okay. Makes sense.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. I know we're a few minutes ahead of schedule. I don't know, Jane, are you interested in coming on board now? Give you a few extra minutes.
We have, Jesse's gonna bring up something, and then I've got a document here to hand out and go over with you.
Okay. Ready, guys? 20. Well, we're supposed to start a quarter after with another project, but it won't take us long to do that, so need a little extra, that's fine.
All right, Jesse Stimson.
Need to get shorter, Chris.
I think this thing right is
Yeah.
We'll block over.
Got a couple issues, and one of them that we brought up is the Shenandoah Hills wind project and the blue line. And what I'm looking for is some clarity, really for the people that are thinking about the possibility of selling a home or purchasing a home within that blue line. I think it has a lot of people confused, and we've asked Invenergy, which I don't think that's the people that we should be asking as far as anything within the blue line. Is that going to be grandfathered in as far as any future projects? I know we've heard that, no, they're gonna have to reapply for a new proposal and do all the same stuff that they had to do for the first one, but I think they said prior to that everything within that blue line would essentially be grandfathered in. And so there's a little bit of confusion that is happening. And so, I think there are already some instances of people questioning whether they're going to buy a home within that blue line because they think that there are turbines coming. And, which I think there is if we don't keep, pushing for more clarity and for better, more honesty, I guess. I think that we need to have a third-party counsel the Board of Supervisors on what that blue line really means and to give a really solid answer, and then give that answer to the public so that when they are trying to decide whether they're going to build a new home or sell their home or any of those things, they deserve to know. So I think that's really important to get a clear answer, because I think we're all still really confused, and that shouldn't be the case. Another area, and I've talked to JD about this, was the possibility of hiring a third-party engineering firm to look over the decommissioning and the road agreements and anything else in the proposal that could use an engineering firm's expertise. I think that if you're relying on Invenergy to come up with numbers, that's a little bit short-sightedness to me. I think that you need a third party to really, just for the accountability side of it, really, to have more than one. And maybe JD feels like and maybe we're not giving him the benefit of the doubt enough, that maybe he can figure those things out. But my understanding of talking is that that's maybe not the case. So I think it'd be well worth our money to hire a firm to come in and look at all these numbers before. I know the decommissioning and road agreements are supposed to be separate, I think. Is that correct, from the proposal? So let's maybe start looking for those firms. I've actually tried to attempt to do so myself and talk to JD about trying to help him find a firm. And I think he has connections too that maybe he's reached out to too. But I just really would encourage a third party to be involved. Thank you.
If you're like me, you need things written down and to remember what was said when, that kind of thing. So I wrote some of these down. You've heard them all before, I'm pretty sure. But I'm going to talk about the many red flags of a corporation that two of our supervisors want to do business with. And I'll just go through the list. Number one, the original road repair issue in Southeast Page. The corporation refused to pay full costs that the county incurred on one stage of the road repair. JD gave it away, in my opinion. Number two, a claim was made that Invenergy had talked to everyone in the footprint. That has been proven false many times over. So it points to their desire to be stealthy and not transparent, as they were in Taylor County. Those people didn't even know they were coming until they were there. Number three, the statement by Invenergy Iowa project manager, "We're not going anywhere. We're here for the foreseeable future." They've said since then a couple of times that they will sell to Mid-American. They have sold all 15 projects that they have completed in Iowa. 4, multiple issues on the proposal that were incorrect. I've asked JD to give me a list of the changes he noted to Invenergy before he presented it to you and see what those were. There were townships that were attributed to the wrong counties. That is pathetic. There were roads mislabeled. Pathetic. Numerous inhabited houses in Fremont were not even on their map. I've heard from anywhere from 40 to 70. And one person said they were told they didn't count the uninhabitable houses and the houses that were a wreck. And she said, I didn't know, I knew our house was old. I didn't know it was that bad because their house was not on the map. Those people are basically invisible to Invenergy and to the Fremont County supervisors, as those supervisors were not willing to have a correct proposal map to vote on. There was a lack of transparency, and there is a lack of transparency and details on the heights of the turbines, among other things. Other people would have some other things. We heard from somebody from Worth County, Iowa, that said, I could share that the Freeborn Wind project that Invenergy developed in Worth County, Iowa, had 500-foot turbines, and they ended up being 800 feet from the residences. One was across the county line. When asked about it, the new owner company, XL Energy, said it wasn't on the map. Invenergy deflects any questions about this project. They no longer own it, they say. Mark Crowell tells us he wasn't the project manager, so he can't talk about it. Invenergy will be long gone when problems arise. No decommissioning figures at time of proposal were presented, and I don't know what their tactics are, but they can't be good to not hand us everything included. The reasons, I haven't heard good reasons of why they don't have decommissioning figures. Wind turbines, number 7, sited too close to the KYFR tower per Invenergy's own permit application, spelled out by their expert. They seem to believe they don't have to follow rules or promises they have made. Check out item 1, for instance. Number 8, wind turbine too close to the Wabash Trace Trail per our ordinance pertaining to public lands. And the laughable thing is that Invenergy has been using sales pitches that they are sponsoring the Wabash Trace Marathon, and it cracks me up that they have basically no idea where it is or where their turbines are in connection with it. Number 9, many answers are deflected or answered without honesty or transparency. Number 10, promise of local jobs. They did not take the local bid for the substation, so they should be upfront during their sales pitches about local jobs. We've heard that how many times? And add the qualifier, if they are the cheapest bidders. A quote from Crowell to a Page County citizen, for us, it comes down to money. As if we didn't know that. The company getting the contract hauls all the heavy equipment across Iowa using lots more fuel and emissions than a local company would use. Not local, not green, not clean, and not honest. Number 11, contracts were, in quotes, signed and notarized incorrectly per the addendum that Invenergy submitted on 5/31/22. That shouts sloppy, with an underhanded smell to it. A notary that notarized many of the contracts in this project was involved in the contracts in question. How many of the other contracts this person notarized are incorrect, or should they be called illegal? Invenergy told KMA that they scrapped those 3 turbines in question to help some residents that were concerned and had some special needs. Not sure that was the truth, more like a cover-up. And it doesn't include others who have pled for mercy for family members that have special needs. Number 12, when Isaac Lampa was questioned by a concerned resident about the close proximity of the turbine to the Wabash Trace Trail, he said, our lawyer doesn't see a problem there. To which the reply was, why doesn't that surprise me? Number 13, environmental reports. Raw data is hidden from the public and has to be requested of Invenergy, who in turn may or may not disclose those reports. I'm just checking to see if you have requested, if the supervisors have requested the environmental reports from Invenergy.
I asked in a meeting for it, I don't think, I want the actual, they sent us an email, that said, it's secret or something, they tried to act like it was, I don't remember what the word was, confidential or something. Yeah. I don't see what.
So we haven't requested those reports?
In a meeting, I asked them for it, but they've not ever given them to us, the actual full report.
You want to see if I can find that email for you?
Maybe, in a week or so.
I'm trying to think.
All I've ever seen is a summary, basically, just summarizing. But I forget how long it was now.
I think it's just as simple as sending a letter, which Mary Ann gave you the letter to send. I don't know if you want an envelope with a stamp on it, whatever. I'm gonna finish it like this. I want you to look at this. I heard this from a wise, clever person. I want you to look at this like a marriage. This whole proposal thing. There you go, proposal. During the courtship, everyone's on their better behavior. Now, I'm not sure Invenergy's been on their better behavior with us citizens, but they have been with the supervisors. And if this is their better behavior, this list that I just gave, it doesn't spell well for the marriage because there's less trying to impress each other during the marriage. And then I went on thinking about this analogy. The majority of the citizens of Page County are not interested in having a relationship with Invenergy. It looks like a marriage of convenience on the part of the supervisors. A kind of a set up marriage. You're handing your daughter over to an abusive relationship. And we know that Alan won't be around as a supervisor to help us out if he signs the proposal now. I would hate to see Chuck and Al vote for a proposal that will affect Page County for decades after they've moved away or passed on. And this marriage of convenience needs to really be considered. The citizens of Page County need to be considered. Other than that, if you just would let me know if this has been sent in, this request.
Did you find that email? I think that was his response to the email, but I don't know.
I think this is it, Jacob, but
I can resend it.
Is this what you were looking for?
Maybe that letter from Mary Ann.
No,
Is that the response?
this is what we got back. It's on the second page from their comments about the reports.
Yeah.
That may be what you were looking for. Let's get to the second page.
I'm looking like it's.
Okay.
Which seems like nonsense. I think if the majority of the board would ask, I can ask for myself and they should give it to me, but if the majority would ask, they'd probably come up with it. It says here, it says all of the data gathered during our field surveys in consultation with IDNR and USFWS should not be shared in the Page County permitting process, is not required by the county ordinance, nor any state or federal process, and some of it's confidential in nature and cannot be shared publicly due to disclosure of sensitivity resource locations. Well, seems like a cop out to me, but I think they're hanging a lot on it's not in our ordinance. So that'd be something to mount an ordinance. And my personal feelings are, is what I think. These would be the maps of where maybe the Eagle's Nest are and things would be what this is. And my gut tells me that most people out there know where they are. And if they missed a bunch of them, they'll be able to call that out. Right now, we don't know. They say they watched, maybe they marked it, maybe they didn't. That's just my gut telling me that. Now, I would like to request it, but this seems pretty weak to me, so.
I think for the care of the county, that these reports should be asked for. I don't know, does the conservation board kind of wish that conservation would be considered on this.
And I'm okay if they're worried, I don't know what the reason is, I'm just guessing right now. If they're worried that disclosing what the Eagles Nest are, I mean, people might mess with the Eagles Nest,
I have no idea.
I have no idea, that might not be right.
Might be a good question for you to send a note to the US. I mean,
Right.
I guess the US Games and File, Fish, Wildlife.
But if
it's
it
called, that would
was, I'd call
be,
them. If it was, I would wonder if maybe there could be a process where the conservation board could have it, and people could go in and say, here's where all the Eagles Nests we know are, and then they could validate whether or not they found them or not. So no,
That is what happened in Worth County.
that's how they figured it out.
They actually somehow got a report from DNR. I would guess there's been lobbying done to make it so you can't do that anymore since then. And they reported 2 eagles nests, and the people knew that there were 6 eagle nests. So they were covering it up. And I just want our supervisors to be on our side. And I would like for that report, that raw data, to be evident for the citizens of Page County before you sign a proposal. Are you willing to ask for a report?
I'm gonna wait and see what I learned today, and if we have a possible closed session that will answer maybe some of these questions. Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Next item up is to discuss approve condemnation commission members. I guess my thoughts on this, Jacob, after going through that, and I sent you some information. It's a board that we definitely need to get in place. We've already put out the word that we're possibly looking for some people, and I think we've had 4 people so far say they would be interested. I guess we should probably, running an ad, and they can go online and get the application from the website, or stop in here and pick one up, or call me or you or Chuck, and we can get them to the right spot to print out an application. We probably need to get the ball rolling on that rather quickly. We've got to find 28 broken into those 4 sections, and I think we'll have plenty of people that are interested, since it does have to do with the eminent domain issue.
What was those 4 topics? Was it farmer? What was the other?
Can you look at your emails? You have your emails.
Yeah, I don't have it open, but I'm just trying to remember.
It's all
Oh, it's all in there, okay. I can go back and look.
I'd have to go back and.
That's
pull it
fine.
up.
Those 1/4 owners, operators of agricultural property, 1/4 owners of city property, 1/4 should be licensed real estate salesperson or real estate brokers, and 1/4 shall be person having knowledge of property values.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember.
I'm not sure the property value on that one's the hardest one, I would think, to know.
Yeah, be some appraisers.
Appraisers, bankers,
Bankers, yeah.
lawyers,
I just was trying to
tax accountants.
remember what those 4 topics
Okay.
are. I think it's fine to post. I think we
Okay,
should post that.
so you want to make a motion to run an auditor's office run an ad,
Yeah, I make a motion that we run an ad. It's the right wording.
and I suppose we collect them over the next couple of weeks, see what shows
2
up,
weeks.
and then we can go out and do some recruiting on our own, if we don't get 28 people.
Okay,
And the ad probably
needs to have
kind of a 4 basic,
categories and
yeah,
kind of what it's for.
yeah.
I don't know how to make that totally right.
Is that a doable thing from the auditor's office, Kristen? I mean, I think between, there's Chuck. I think between, we're just discussing the condemnation compensation board, running an ad in the newspaper to solicit 28, or to solicit names.
Right.
And have them get applications through the auditor's office or through the county website. Have basically the a deadline of, I don't know how soon we can get that in the paper. How soon? Were yours, Bernie? We need to write an ad for that condemnation compensation board. Probably the soonest we could get it in the paper would be next week. Few weeks. So that would put us toward the end of the month. And so maybe by the 15th of August. And during that time, we can keep talking about it on to our friends and neighbors and keep having people all in. And we probably need to have them fill out that application though. I don't know really other than their name, their address, where they, what they do, and what qualities that reflect those 4 areas. Whether they're a farmer, a business person.
Can there be a tab on the website to just do this, or how's that
Well, there's
normally?
a tab for doing on the apps.
So they can just do it.
Yeah.
Well, the earliest you're gonna get it in is on the days. On the 3rd and 4th of
Okay.
August.
Yeah.
Then by the 15th or whatever, in 2 weeks. Fine.
Is that soon enough for Judge Larson?
Yeah, that's why, when do they need it by? That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
So, or should we reach out to those who've expressed an
Yeah,
interest to
yeah.
tell them that
What's going on?
they need to do the app?
Right. And those 4 that have applied or mentioned that they're interested, I think, trying to think, Greg Butt is interested,
Farwell,
John Milholm,
Ross Farwell.
Ross Farwell,
Is there another one? I thought those were the only.
Don't I remember?
trying to think, I thought I had one more, but maybe I don't.
Those are the only 3 I remember.
Okay, that may be the only 3.
You want them to have access to the 15th, and then they'll have access.
Well, if we've got, but we've got to have a full board of 28.
We might need one more week to,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we don't have enough to go see if we can find one.
yeah, yeah.
So have access to the 15th, and you'll apply.
Why don't you do this, if you can put together what the ad's going to say, why don't you send it, if you want to send that to me, and I can share that with the SKIA, because there's between the SKIA and the Corinda, or the Corinda Chamber.
Chamber.
Might be best to keep it to the users. Mix it
Okay.
Well, the thing is, this highlighted portion, on some of the words in the paper, it says what it is.
Yeah, we can just copy that and say we're seeking applicants.
Seeking applicants to these 4 categories,
Yep.
please apply here.
Yep.
So there's your ad right there.
But now, should we refigure the application? Will you plan on using the standard application because it won't have categories? Should we devise another application specifically?
We just circle yours or something, or have to write one of these 4 things when it applies, which
Yeah, I
one
don't have
applies.
it.
Yeah, maybe we could do that.
It can be the same application, just with those 4 things on it, just which one applies to you, so we know which category they go in. But that spells out what it is. And what the qualifications are.
I don't have an
You
application.
might do it. I mean, we want to be on secret and send it for it, but it on.
Okay.
Should this says eminent domain, it needs, I don't know if this actually mentions eminent domain. So that first part is this commission to assess damages, maybe just something, add something, in the case of eminent domain or something, so they're not.
You might not want to.
It doesn't say in the domain.
Because people get, think it's just a bunch of words.
That's when they use this group in the other counties that I did the research on.
You may want to put a deadline of 8 of August 15th for it to fill, so that we don't.
Right.
You know, it's done.
Okay. I'll pull up the application, the other one, and I'll reword it and I'll shorten it up. and try to get that done tonight or tomorrow night. And I'll send it out to both of you and Melissa to see if it's okay. And then if that's okay with you guys, and we can go ahead and then get it in the paper, get an ad with an application. Okay?
And that's great. Thanks for doing
Okay.
that.
Okay. I'll work on that tonight.
Excellent.
Okay?
Order.
Okay. Well, at this time, do we want to go into a recess? And then we'll reconvene. We have to reconvene in here to go into closed session, or can we go into closed session?
Are they
now?
available before 3:30?
They might be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at this time, if there be a motion to go into closed session under Code of Iowa, Chapter 21.5.1C to discuss possible litigation. Action.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been do a roll call, Melissa.
Armstrong,
Here, yes, sorry.
Morris,
Yes.
Calvert was out.
Holmes,
Yes.
Okay, session, or come out of recess, I'm sorry.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay.
Closed session.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to come out of closed session.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, this time, yes,
Morris,
Yes.
Yes.
this time probably would need to approve motion to extend the ability for Ayers and Cooney, is that right? Yeah, Cooney, yeah, to continue working on the information that we had sent them earlier about the application and the concerns regarding some of the changes that might have to be made, and with the ordinance being sent to them, to go ahead and give them the agreements to go ahead and start on that this time.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, 3-0. Okay? Board communication.
I'm going to Council Bluffs Wednesday. The other thing is maybe whenever it comes time, I got that email a while back from Administrative Representative. Whenever it comes time to set the meeting, to do the vote, or set any meeting, it'd be nice unless it's emergency. To do it in a meeting, we discussed when we're gonna do it, just something I think would be nice to do that here.
Whatever the,
When we, if we change the meeting or do a meeting outside of an emergency, I'd like to do it in a meeting, like we talk about when we're gonna do the next meeting or something, or set it. Then it'd be just something I find out about, that we're gonna do it some different day or something.
we won't do anything until we hear back from Maria, and we'll discuss it.
We can make a decision, yeah, however, make sure it works, so that'd be good. That's all I have.
I have no communication.
I don't think I have anything I can remember. Excuse me.
We're trying to do the bills here.
Yeah.
Alan's
Jacob
doing-
is working on the bills. I do have one, and I'll pass it around here. It's from the State of Iowa Department of Commerce Utilities Board. All the motions and all the stuff that has happened with about the possible, if there's any eminent domain issues. So I'll let you read through that.
Okay. Oh, didn't we get this in our email?
I think we did.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
I was thinking of the same note. There's a lot of pages there.
Yeah, so we don't need it. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. I read those. Minutes, and they're under. Oh, claims, sorry. I haven't got those yet, sorry.
Here we are, I think I'm done.
Let me take a look at claims. I've looked at minutes. We want to,
Yeah,
somebody want to do minutes, we can do that.
This trip up the OG, you could take our speedboat up there, swimsuits, and everything else. Looks like a good deal. All attendees for $95 will receive a free baseball cap.
whoa, wow, it's like farmers,
Yeah.
get your hat.
Better throw in a koozie or it won't be official.
guys have read through the minutes.
I think they're all right.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second,
all those in favor?
I just about through the claims.
Okay.
There's a lot there, that's all right.
Yeah, there was a lot there.
No hurry.
And then Chuck, there is on your desk a stack of claims for the EMS, or EMS.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's just for you.
The Board of Health meeting was that last night, or that's tonight? I'm not gonna go to that tonight.
You're gonna go?
I'm not gonna be able to make it, because anybody else can make it.
I don't think I'm gonna come back over for it.
I can go if you want me to.
It's up to you.
It's not a big deal.
I looked through the agenda, there was hardly, mostly about policies.
Right.
I think welcoming Mr. Mullen to the first meeting looked like a pretty short and sweet one.
So will they now meet over here now?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're meeting over there tonight at the annex.
That'll be normal.
No, they're here. So in town.
At the end.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
At the annex.
Yes,
Not
I'm
the
sorry,
west,
not the
yeah.
other annex.
Not
I
paid
pictured the
west.
same thing you were saying.
Okay.
Oh.
I was confused there for a second.
Oh, you said, did you mean to say nay on this Motorola's?
Yeah, that's the thing I voted against, I think. Is that
On the
Console?
console, you voted against console?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought, that's why I wrote it down that way.
Orange juice cans aren't gonna go very far.
What's that?
I was telling Jacob those orange juice cans aren't gonna go very far.
Depends what string you have. I don't know. Better string.
Okay. Having gone through the claims, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the claims as presented?
Yeah, so,
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
quick question for, sorry for being late today. What did you guys do on, the Pierce Creek?
John's gonna gather some more information. He's got a rough idea right now of, he's thinking could be up to,
40 to 50 on
yeah,
the
40 to
rock
50, just a rip wrap
on the
D on
dam.
one side,
Water side.
clearing out the trees that are too big for them to do. And then there's some concrete work around this that needs to be done, but he does not have any definite prices on the concrete.
Did you guys approach the topic of, changing the budgetary process so that that's a carryover fund, which had been presented back? It's not allowed, we can't have some sort of maintenance fund for,
You can have a separate restricted fund, but your current fund,
okay,
if your O 1,000 is your general fund, is unrestricted.
okay.
So, I mean, you could potentially get restricted and you can set money aside, but it's a. I'm sorry, but it has to be for like specific things and which honestly, when you budget, you still do anyways. So if you're budgeting for a project during the budget process, you're still potentially putting money.
Okay.
So then
I know it was-
you're kind of just creating, I mean, you can do it that way, but you're kind of just creating
An extra step that may not be necessary. Well, all I remember was when DNR was here and they, I think referenced maybe Montgomery County or some other county
Right.
that had a fund that kind of built up so they could get.
Well, we have a conservation reserve fund, which can be used
Okay.
for like different projects. There's specific code section that says it can be used for X, Y, and Z. And you can choose to either allocate money to that for those specific projects, which then would sit restricted or, but I,
So in other words, we could take, let's say, put $30,000 or $50,000 a year into that conservation fund in our budget, and then it would stay restricted for.
yes, but two things you have to remember when you do that is, A, once you give that money, it's gone, so.
Right.
Can't get it back.
But then two, there's specific rules with that fund that then those criteria, so then if you put it in there, and then later somebody says, oh, well, we want to spend it on this instead of this.
And
If
you
you
don't
put
have
it
that
in
option.
there, it's then restricted, so you have to be careful.
Does Pierce Creek have anything to do with the watershed or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Because we can do watershed. can we put money in the watershed? If you want to talk about that, I don't know if we want to, I'm just trying to remember. That
Well,
watershed,
I think you can. I know the West Nation watershed.
there's something about that they brought up.
Check.
last year. And the best way to keep the money is where it's, but you don't want it to be gone, it's not there to need it to. But to keep it where it has the most possibilities.
Who does the WNA, the watershed management?
I'm trying to remember who came in here that day. Do you remember them coming in here that one day? Wasn't that them? That was,
Is it Brandon Reeves?
Well, but he's with
Oh,
the,
yeah.
No, I
was Ernie, did Ernie come in with that? Or was that something else that came up that day?
In Golden Hills deeply involved in that
well,
somehow.
I mean,
Conservation, we have
Yeah.
the conservation department,
but,
and there's a,
but the WMA is the one, have you been to any of those meetings?
I think so,
The
yeah.
one JD goes to?
Mhm. I wanted to land.
She's from Fremont County.
Kara Marker Morgan,
Yes.
yeah, who's now the director of the Rolling Hills,
Oh,
or
she
Golden
is.
Hills.
Kara's in charge of Golden Hills.
When Michelle left,
Okay.
they appointed
Okay.
Kara. But they were,
Kara would be-
they were organizing the West Nish
Right.
watershed.
Right, and what I'm wondering is if Kara can give us some direction on how to do a watershed fund, because that's how that Pierce Creek was built, was through them, wasn't it, many years ago?
I think so.
If they were around, I assume it was them, because they're the ones that developed.
Because we took that tour and they said that we were basically responsible for
Yes,
taking care of it, I think.
yes, we are now, but when it was, because it's ran its lifetime.
Yeah, now, yeah,
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to figure out a funding stream.
saving a little bit all the time, so it doesn't.
Which currently right now, if you transfer, I think, 3,000 a year to the conservation reserve fund, every year. So I mean, you can always choose to do more through that fund.
In the
How
budget.
much is in the conservation
Or-
reserve fund?
I can't remember.
Is it the budget book?
I felt like the watershed had like $11,000, but I could be wrong. Wasn't very much.
Remember the two is. If you have specific projects, sometimes it's
Just to fund it.
Yeah.
nice for you guys to be aware of that and then just budget.
Allocate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I kind of like,
Because then too, you're kind of keeping, like, if you're sending general fund money that way, that's a good way then to make sure it's going to the, you know, it's a better way for you to. make
Manage
sure
it. So if you keep your general fund large, then you can just take on these things as they come about.
Well,
One
yeah,
at a
and you can allocate, because right now your main conservation, like, Department 22 is out of general fund. So when you're doing that automatically, it's unrestricted and out. Now, but you have to remember though too, once it goes there, they can spend it. So
Right.
it kind of, you have that agreement, like, hey, we're.
Make an agreement
giving you
before the money.
$15,000 for this project, the expectation is then you set it for that project.
kind of like we did on the Rat Park construction. That didn't happen.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's $3,000, which, again, not a lot of money when there's a project of 3,000.
So that doesn't accumulate, it's just 3,000 every year and it goes back.
David, is it, where does it show how much is total there?
It does.
It's gonna show.
Doesn't accumulate.
Yeah, I understand the 10,000, there's some of the book.
You go to the very front, I'll show you.
Okay, and that's what I was, wondering, be in the front.
No, I'll have to find that. It was in there, but too, you have to remember, like, when it's sitting in. It's kind of like with the back to the project, but then too, I mean, like, when you guys start a project, then if there's additional costs or X. And you need to, then you can allocate additional funding, it's just to go through that budget amendment process. Or if you know there's a large project, you can always pull back, or you can look at, and also too, then you can always look at local option too.
Well,
if
that's
there's funding there, so, which is a good way then on, from the tax side then to save
Right.
raising taxes and letting, you know,
Sure.
your citizens if you don't need to.
Well, I guess for me, the importance of the discussion is, you know, if they need $50,000 right now, I'd like to think we could position ourselves to where we don't, that feels like we're really behind to me. and would prefer not to get in that situation.
Proactive versus reactive.
So it's kind of how you look at the budgeting process too, because if you look at the budgeting process as the time of year where people come in, and I realize emergencies happen, things like that. But if you look at the budgeting process from that standpoint of when people come in and, when
And
different
ask for-
departments have different projects, and then the board kind of then has the opportunity then to decide which projects, they need to fund immediately, which projects can wait a year or two. And then, look at the fund balance, see what's available or look at the local option and see how you want to fund that. That's usually a good time for budgeting and to look at all that. And then, if emergencies come up from there, you kind of want to, of course, then you need to look again and see what you can do. But if not, then you're kind of taking away from that budgeting process and kind of then just sporadically putting it through the year, which can sometimes be concerning if you're
Sure.
continuing to dip into your fund balance.
No, your theory is strong and it works well. The only glitches to that is that you have some people, some departments that are better stewards, so that when they say we need something, that they need it. Or they have demonstrated that they don't ask for things that they don't need.
And that's true, then, like, when there's another event, then that you guys can look at that too and say, hey, we realize, we recognize that you have this additional cost, and so we're gonna go ahead and fund it at this time.
If we
As long as
don't,
fund balance will hold that.
if we don't fund, if somebody comes with an amendment who's being a poor manager, and we don't fund the amendment, they come in for an amendment and they have not wisely spent their money or went against what we said, what happens then? If there's no money?
Depending on the department or the services offered, you can start to look at cutting services or cutting staff and,
But we can't choose what they cut, they get to decide.
Well, we could
it
say,
depends on the department.
If you get money, it only goes for this or something or what.
we could say, you need to cut your budget by X% for that, we have that authority.
Just wondering, because if you're trying to use the amendment to draw a line, what happens if we say, okay, you don't get money?
Well,
That's
human
what-
nature, you remember that stuff. And again, it goes back to
The
some
budget plan.
And you can too look at some different options if you continually run into that, like through appropriations during the budget process. We always allocate that 100%, whereas some other counties choose to allocate 25 or 50% and they do it quarterly or.
So you can keep it as it goes, make
But
sure
the
things
two-
are
Then that's a kind of way to hold things back a
accountable.
little bit, and then you do have a little more,
accountability.
Influence.
the board has a little more control then. But also too, it depends on the department too, because if you're looking at, for example, like Corey, IT, he falls directly under the board. So you guys have a little more authority there, whereas if you're looking at public health as a separate board, things like that, kind of once you allocate that money, then it's kind of at their discretion as to, how they choose to spend it. So it's just kind of that decision process then that you guys have to go through, be comfortable. And you can always choose in some ways to, that appropriation process, or sometimes too, you can during budgeting, hold back a little bit more in a budget, and then as time goes on, really, if you need to do an amendment, you can always change that, or, because pretty much once you give it out to a department, you're not, like, if you give Corey an IT $100,000, and he goes out and buys $100,000 worth of equipment, you can't come back and halfway through the year then and say, we need to take that back.
Right.
So,
Yeah, you give them that authority. Straight that. Yeah. Or you just got to cut. Well, thanks for that explanation. That was all I had on. I'm sorry I missed that part, but I feel better about how we can manage that moving forward.
Motion to adjourn, is that the next step?
Good lead.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
See ya.